Any true believer knows that his or her salvation is tantamount to being called by God out of darkness into a marvelous light. But calling can have an extended meaning, which is the fact of being in God's employ as a servant who does good works. In other words, your calling is that part of God's nature in you that moves or compels you to do something. Before you can be confident in your calling, you need to recognize your calling. While there is a general calling for every believer, there are specific callings for individuals. Your personal calling must be revealed to you by God. Some people are called to be pastors, teachers, sailors, artists, social workers, counselors, doctors, etc. It is important that you discover God's call for your life. A failure to do so will mean that you may spend all your life living someone else's life, while your own call is left unattended to. It is true that you may never fully understand what your call is, but one thing you must do is to be confident in your calling. It seems counterintuitive to ask you to be confident about something you do not completely understand. Yet, to act in diffidence or lack of confidence is an indication that you do not trust God completely. And there is no way God is going to be happy about that. To be confident in your calling is to trust that it is truly God who has called you into an assignment, and you are willing to go all out to do that which He has called you into, because you trust that He will always be with you. Being confident in your calling comes with a lot of obligations beyond the discovery of what God has called or is calling you into. The first step of being confident in your call is to understand that your confidence does not rest on your competence. That was exactly what the Apostle Paul was writing about in 2 Corinthians chapter 3 from verse 4 to 6. Here is how he puts it. Such is the confidence and steadfast reliance and absolute trust that we have through Christ toward God. Not that we are sufficiently qualified in ourselves to claim anything as coming from us, but our sufficiency and qualifications come from God. He has qualified us, making us sufficient as ministers of a new covenant of salvation through Christ, not of the letter of a written code, but of the Spirit. For the letter of the law kills by revealing sin and demanding obedience, but the Spirit gives life. In other words, we can be confident in our God calling because we have realized that our sufficiency and qualification to do all that is required of us in life does not come from what we can do or not do, but because God Himself has made us sufficient. It is God who does the task through us. We are merely conduits of His grace and purposes. By extension, your confidence to do the bidding of your calling is not dependent on your education, status, family background, or intellect, but on God's ability. Secondly, if you must be confident in your calling, you must be careful to refrain from comparing yourself with other people. It is possible to meet people who have a calling that is similar to yours, but you need to always remember that you all are different in some distinct ways. We may all be given talents, but they can differ in their number. You could have the same gift of leadership with another person, yet the context for application can be different. One of the reasons why we are having unhealthy competitions in our offices, schools, organizations, fields of endeavor, and churches is because we have given in to the deceit of comparison. Don't give in to the temptation of comparing yourselves with others. Rather, you should know what it is that God requires from you and commit to doing it. No man is your standard, God is. You should not be threatened by another person's success. That a pastor, for instance, is leading a congregation of 1,000 people does not in any way imply that you, who have only 10 children in your congregation, has failed in your calling. Your success in your calling is measured by your faithfulness in keeping what was put in your care. Closely related to comparing yourself to another is the inclination to copy another person. Like I have established earlier, we all have our distinct callings with their peculiarities. To copy another person is to neglect yours. You are not another person, you are you, and your pattern is the perfect blueprint that you received from God the first time He called you. Be confident in your calling by being consistent in your curiosity. You do not understand the entirety of your calling from the beginning. You keep learning and growing into it. This happens because you have first of all committed to pursuing the calling. In that pursuit, you will find that there is need to keep improving and learning. Your confidence level grows as you keep learning. The best way to maintain relevance in where God has called you is to have an appetite for growing. That is what curiosity is all about. Some of the ways you can keep building on your confidence through learning is by developing an insatiable appetite for the Word of God, reading of books and listening to others who have gone ahead of you. Be confident in your calling by considering challenges as part of the journey. Many people tend to think that a sign that anything is from God is when it is devoid of difficulties and hindrances. What they seem not to understand is that every assignment comes with adversaries and adversities. Interestingly, the more you scale through them, the more your confidence level will increase. Your ability to confront one challenge will increase your confidence to confront other challenges as they come, no matter their gravity or enormity. In conclusion, Paul's encouragement in 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 12 should always inform your confidence. It says, "The confidence of my calling enables me to overcome every difficulty without shame. For I have an intimate revelation of this God, and my faith in Him convinces me that He is more than able to keep all that I have placed in His hands safe and secure until the fullness of His appearing."